that is The Master Artist, written by Carol Moore. And here the master artist is Monsieur Signy Abbé. And we are going to read about a rich Italian patron by name Giuliano Bartoli. Names are quite difficult, you have to remember the names. Master artist is Monsieur Signy Abbé and the patron is Giuliano Bartoli. First, you need to know the meaning of patron. What is patron? A patron means a person who supports artists and writers. It is given in your book also. A patron is a person who supports writer and artist. Now, if you read the book, you'll see the first para. Monsieur Signy Abbé, when he was all ready to retire, that is in the month of May and in the year 1932. A rich Italian patron, that is by the name Giuliano Bartoli, went to him and asked him to paint his portrait. He wanted the master artist to paint his portrait. It is a portrait of Giuliano Bartoli. So whether he will paint or not, let us see. In the second para, if you read, you'll see. At first he was not willing. At first he was not at all willing to paint the portrait of Monsieur Signy. He was not willing to paint the portrait of Giuliano Bartoli, saying that I am already retired and I am not ready for hire. Then, seeing the expression, seeing the sad face, the sad look of Giuliano Bartoli, Monsieur Signy Abbé, he got ready. He agreed to paint his portrait, but on certain conditions. And what were the conditions? I'll write down some conditions. The first condition was that he will work not for money. Not for money, but for food and bed instead. He was ready to paint the portrait of Giuliano Bartoli not for money, but for food and bed. Then the next condition was that he would not need to pose. No need to pose. No need to pose because he had an excellent memory, and that's why he had already his portrait in his mind. So he did not need to pose. And the third condition, while he worked on the portrait must stay private. That is even from Giuliano Bartoli. The portrait must be private. So these are the three conditions under which Monsieur Signy Abbé agreed to work for Giuliano Bartoli. And the first condition was that he would work for money, not for money, but for food and bed instead. And number two, he did not need to pose, no need to pose, because his memory was excellent. He had an excellent memory. He had already his portrait in his mind. Then number three, the portrait must be kept private until it was done. Even Giuliano Bartoli, the patron himself, could not see the portrait unless it was done. So these were the three conditions. You have to remember these three conditions. Then, okay, so after that what they did, they drew up the contract and they signed. Okay, after sealing the agreement, they signed the contract, and the artist, that is Monsieur Signy Abbé, started working on the portrait. So immediately the master artist, what he did, he threw a very high curtain in front of the wall, a very big wall, banquet room they call. What is a banquet room? A banquet room, you see a room in which formal meals are arranged for a large number of people, especially on certain occasions. In that banquet room, a big room, he was supposed to draw the portrait of Giuliano Bartoli. And a curtain was also hung so that nobody sees the portrait unless it was done. Then a week passed. Okay, after a week, after 7 days, that is, yes, Giuliano Bartoli was wanted so much to see the portrait that he went towards him and asked whether the portrait was done or not. After that is after a week. Then he got an answer from behind the curtain, that is from Monsieur Sidney Abbey, from the master artist, that it is not done. It will take many more days. So he went back feeling very disappointed. And after that, a month passed. Okay. Now a month passed. After 1 month again he went and he asked master artist, that is Monsieur Sidney Abbey, whether the portrait was done or not. And this time also he got disappointed, because from behind the curtain he got an answer. He got a reply again that the portrait was not done. Even a month passed, but it's not done. So this time again he left the room feeling very disappointed. And why he took such a long time? Because he was using the best things. Okay, the best things for plaster. That is like pigment, colored powder. Pigment is colored powder, mixed with liquid. He was using the best pigments, okay, the best colors in his painting. So he took a very long time, and after that, months passed, okay, 3 months, 4 months passed, and finally a year went by. After a year, the patron marched. This time he went marching in. He got very angry and he went marching in. This time, by all means, I have to see my portrait, because it is already a year, half an year, and I cannot wait more than this. So he went marching towards the banquet room in order to see his portrait. And when he went, he demanded to see his portrait. He said, "You must be finished by now, and today I will see it." After 6 months, finally, you should finish the portrait. So I cannot wait anymore. I cannot wait any longer. So I want to see my portrait by all means today. He shouted, shaking with frustration. He became very frustrated and he was shouting. This time he did not request. Then, stepping from behind the cloth, as though surprised by such anger, Monsieur Abbé said calmly, "That's fine, you need not only to request it," and he pulled aside the 20-feet curtain. And finally, this time the portrait was done. So, the master artist, Monsieur Abbé, what he did, he pulled aside the curtain, pulled down the curtain, and he showed the portrait to the patron. To the patron, that is Giuliano Bartoli. And seeing the portrait, Giuliano Bartoli became very angry. He gave a sudden movement of twitch. Okay, a twitch means a sudden movement that showed his anger. The portrait which he waited for so long, for many months, did not turn out like it seemed to be, like his expectation. Okay, it became very opposite to what he was thinking. He did a little hop and then a twitch, and his eyebrows contorted. That means he was. It seems like he was under the spell of an evil spirit. He became very angry seeing his expression. And what was the expression? Let us see. He gave a cubist expression. Okay, cubist expression means an artist who paints in a style called Cubism. Cubism is a form of modern art developed and made by Pablo Picasso, which became famous in the early 20th century. This Cubist expression became famous in the early 20th century, but before that it wasn't famous. No one knew about it. And he was the first artist. Monsieur Sidney Abbé was the first artist to discover this kind of expression. And if you go to page number 4, you can see this portrait in your book. It looks very funny, isn't it? So this was the kind of painting which he did, the portrait which he had drawn for many months, which made him very angry, which made the rich Italian patron, that is the Giuliano Bartoli, very angry, because he was assuming a very good portrait of himself to be hung on the banquet wall. By seeing his cupid's expression, which he waited after waiting for many months, many days, he got very angry, and in anger, he chased him out of the house. And what did he say? Let us see. You'll not receive 1 florin, did you hear? You are not an artist, maybe a thief or a madman. Get out of my sight, you'll leave my house tonight, or I'll have you thrown out. He got angry, so out of anger, he told the artist, Monsieur Abbé, that he is not an artist. Instead, he is a thief or a madman who doesn't have any knowledge in painting portrait. So, he requested him to leave the house that night itself, and before he gets thrown out. Okay, this is the in short the theme of the story. I hope you all have understood. Questions are also I have given in the Mini app. You read the book thoroughly again. Then questions are also you write, you learn. Next time we'll come up with the next story. Till then, take care. Bye bye.
Stay home, stay safe.
Do it for self.
Do it for your family. Do it for India.
Let's break the chain of COVID-19.
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद। हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद।
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद।